this is AI, there is still a lot of bias in each platform, because there's value to what everybody puts into the platform, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude, and so it is learning from the people, so to speak. And so Elon is trying to make it less about the bias and more neutral.
Finally here, Elon Musk has finally announced / released xAI's ChatGPT competitor, Grok. And in this video, I'm going to be going over absolutely every single piece of information that there is, including footage of the actual large language model in action, and teaching you how to actually sign up so you can actually gain access to this large language model as soon as possible. So let's get right into the news, because this is something breaking. So they released this blog post on the website that says Grok is an AI modeled after Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, so intended to answer almost anything, and far harder, even suggest what questions to ask. Grok is designed to answer your questions with a bit of wit and has a rebellious streak, so please don't use it if you hate humor. A unique and fundamental advantage of Grok is that it has real-time knowledge of the world via the X platform. Now, I'm going to dive into exactly what this means and each point, because it's far more interesting than every other large language model that we've seen. This is truly a unique product from Elon Musk and his team.
What's really interesting about Grok versus Claude or ChatGPT is that it's got a personality, and it responds back with spicy comments, humorous comments, and even makes it more of a fun game, so to speak, to talk to. Grok. The name Grok, I didn't know what it meant, but it means, feeling something. So are you feeling, the grok of whatever? Are you grok about kite surfing? Are you grok about work today? And you feeling it in your bones? So a term I'd never understood or heard before, so it's really interesting. So is this AI platform in your bones, and do you feel it? So pretty cool. Elon's developed this in less than 4 months. The guy's a genius. He just takes something and goes full throttle on it and created Grok in 4 months. Pretty incredible. So LLM, large language model. Pretty excited about this. It pulls a lot of data off of the X platform too, which I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter. It was Twitter, it's now X, but to pull the information off of a platform like that, I'm sure it's learned the world very, very quickly, because this is where everybody is sharing and consuming. Very interesting, very interesting.
Groundbreaking as the pace of AI has moved very, very quickly. I think this narrative is going to be more interesting. You see, a large problem and something that isn't talked about as much with large language models is their inability to answer all questions. And initially, for many large language models, what we do have is an inherent bias in their training data that tweaks it to the owner's preferences. Now, this might be something that some people don't have an issue with, but for others, they find it quite annoying. And this is where Elon Musk has posed his large language model by saying it's based and loves sarcasm. Benchmarks. So when we look at the benchmarks, we can see that they're actually pretty good. So of course they don't surpass ChatGPT. I'm just going to say that for now. They don't pass GPT-4. GPT-4 still remains number one in terms of the large language models that dominate in all capabilities. But if we do take a look at Grok 1, we can see that compared to GPT 3.5 and Inflection 1, it does stack up pretty well. We can see in the GSM 8K, which is middle school math word problems, you can see that it did 62.9%, surpassing GPT 3.5 and Llama 2, and on par with Inflection 1's Pi. In addition, the MMLU, which is multidisciplinary multi-choice questions provided in 5-shot context, it performed a 73%, which is once again above ChatGPT's 3.5, and in the human eval, it performed a 63.2% compared to ChatGPT's 48.1%. Now you might be thinking you're comparing apples to oranges with GPT-4 being so far above, but at the same time, it does make sense for us to do this because we need to see where exactly and how capable this large language model is. Now, on the math eval, which is middle school and high school mathematics problems, written in LaTeX, it scored a 23.9%, which is marginally above GPT 3.5. So it's really interesting. It says on these benchmarks, Grok 1 displayed strong results, surpassing all other models in its compute class, including ChatGPT 3.5 and Inflection 1. It is only surpassed by models that were trained with a significantly larger amount of training data and compute resources like GPT-4. This showcases the rapid progress we are making at XAI in training LLMs with exceptional efficiency.
It was so interesting. He shared the capability or the intellect of Grok versus all the other LLMs. And only ChatGPT 4 and Claude 2 and Palm 2 actually had a more intelligent, or were scoring better. So in 4 short months, it is almost at the same place as so many of the others. However, what's really cool about Grok is that you've got a regular mode and a fun mode. So you can actually ask it for 2 different personalities, so to speak. And then the other great thing about it is that you actually can work in multiple tabs or be working in multiple screens with different tasks, different questions, different prompts. And you can't do that in any of the other LLM platforms. So, already it gives us great efficiency to work with these AI platforms, but now you've got multiple tabs or multiple platforms open. And it's just like supersized it again. Really remarkable. And they're talking about coding and how good it was at coding versus the others. So really, it's only a matter of time before Grok 2.0 exceeds the others. It appears anyways that they could supersede all the others in a very short period of time.
Now, as for when this will be released to the general public, we don't have an official date, but for those of you who do want to sign up and potentially get beta access, if you do scroll down on the webpage all the way to the bottom, it says early access at Grok. We are offering a limited number of users in the United States to try out our Grok prototype and provide valuable feedback that will help us improve its capabilities before a wider release. You can join the Grok waitlist here. This just represents the first step for XAI, and looking ahead, we're going to have an exciting roadmap and we'll be rolling out new capabilities in the coming months. Now, with Grok, and what I find interesting, and if you do want to join the waitlist, which I have, if you click that button, you will need to have a Twitter account or an X.com account. So make sure you make an account on X.com. And apparently, it might only be available to premium users, which is around $16 a month. You can see Elon Musk says here, the AI Grok assistant will be provided as a part of X Premium Plus. So I recommend signing up for that. It's just $16 a month via the web. And this is essentially just a premium version of Twitter. Now you might be wondering, okay, they've gone ahead and they've launched Grok. But what is the next step for Elon Musk in terms of leading this AI company to the next stages? Well, if you scroll down, you can see research at X.ai. We give Grok access to search tools and real-time information. But with all LLMs trained on the next token prediction, our model still can generate false or contradictory information. And we believe that achieving reasonable reasoning is the most important research direction to address the current limitations of current systems. So the directions that they're going to be going in is scalable oversight, which essentially means human feedback and looking up different sources, verifying steps and external tools. And of course, some of the stuff that you really want to hear about, which is going to be longer context understanding and retrieval, which essentially means a longer context window, having the model be more robust. So it says adversarial examples demonstrate that optimizers can easily exploit vulnerabilities in AI systems, both during training and serving times, causing them to make mistakes. And these vulnerabilities are long-standing weaknesses of deep learning models. And of course, multimodal capabilities. It says Grok doesn't have any other sensors such as vision and audio. To better assist users, we will help Grok with these different sensors that can enable broader applications, including real-time interactions and assistance. So multimodal capabilities and many more capabilities are coming, but we just don't know when these capabilities are coming. I think the first next step is, of course, the beta release, which there isn't any date planned for that they've stated. Now, here are some interesting details on Grok that aren't completely confirmed, but apparently it has a 25,000 character context window, screen refresh response speed, live search engine focuses on X for context, API, image recognition, and audio recognition is planned, which we just talked about, and a version of Grok will run native in Teslas using local compute power. So I think that will be very interesting for Teslas to have a native LLM embedded in their system. Now, if you don't know why Elon Musk created this large language model company, essentially one of the reasons he did this was because there is a significant amount of bias in the large language models that we use today. So you can see an article that says the politics of AI, ChatGPT, and political bias. Now, I'm not someone that wants to make this video political, but there are many different areas that you can be biased. It says the fact that chatbots can hold conversations means that it's possible to conduct a structured dialogue, causing ChatGPT to have a position on political issues. And then essentially what they were able to show is that ChatGPT supports certain issues and doesn't support other issues. Now, the reason this is quote unquote a problem is because if this LLM is popular, which ChatGPT really is, it means that people can inherently somehow control what people think. For example, it says asking ChatGPT, is President Biden a good president? And as a separate query, was President Trump a good president? In President Biden's response, it talked about several of his notable accomplishments, and then President Trump, it did not. Now, no matter where you stand on the political spectrum, it's important to note that even not in politics, but simple things, this bias may exist. And it's important not to have the creator's initial bias in that system, whether you're on the left or whether you're on the right. These AI systems should be as neutral as possible. And that's what many of these articles aim to talk about. So I think that's what Elon Musk is aiming to do with this large language model. And I think he most likely will be successful. Now, of course, it isn't always these large language models creators' problems. Sometimes in the training data, the data is just inherently biased, and it's up to them to ensure that the data that they curate is going to be less biased overall, ensuring in a more neutral system, which essentially means that it's going to be fairer for everyone that uses it.
You can sign up for the beta access now, so early access, it's limited numbers. Really encourage you to do that. I'm going to be doing that as we speak. There is a wait list, of course. It does talk about being on the Twitter or X account. You're certainly going to get earlier access because Elon, of course, owns that. So he's going to give early access, and he's talking about the premium user, which is $16 a month, by the way, $16 a month to have the premium X account will get access to Grok for free. So you might want to check that out. There's no date for the release to the public at this point, but you know, there's lots of great things here. The scalability, the larger context, the robust, and the multi-model is very, very interesting. But what was so interesting was that even though this is AI, there is still a lot of bias in each platform, because you know there's value to what everybody puts into the platform, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude, and so it is learning from the people, so to speak. And so Elon is trying to make it less about the bias and more neutral. And I'm not sure he can do that. I'm not sure he's, you know, is going to be capable of that, but really, really interesting. We think that these sources, LLMs, are very, very neutral, but there is still bias in them. There's still emotion. There's still value that they're bringing out from the learning that they're doing. And so it'll be interesting to see if Elon can create a neutral AI platform called Grok. So really exciting, man. We're just on the cusp of this. We're just there. And I'm just reminded of, you know, when the internet really fired up in the mid-90s, I was one of the very first that had a website in my city when it came to real estate. I was one of the very first that was doing online leads. And it seemed like so far out there, and today it's just common stuff. It's like getting up in the morning and walking down the hall and hitting your coffee machine and expecting coffee to come out. It's just that common. And are we going to get there with these AI platforms? Absolutely. But we're still just on the cusp of what it is to become. Let me say that again. We are just on the cusp of what it is to become. What it is to become. So, you know, hang on. It's going to be a fun ride. In the right hands, it's going to be amazing. In the wrong hands, we may question it, but we're just on the cusp. So Grok is pushing the envelope again. Elon Musk is pushing the envelope again. And it's exciting times ahead for us. If you'd like to learn more about AI, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be diving deeper into this each and every week. I want to be your source. I want to be your source of knowledge, experience, and the expertise of business, not just real estate, but of business.